So let's acknowledge the good friends of the Loft Party Podcast. The Majestic Restaurant and Pendergast Club, 931 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. The J. Rieger Kansas City Distillery. Oh, so good. Now onto our regularly scheduled program.
Just not getting it.
Everybody out there in podcast land, welcome. The Good Times with Good People Company proudly presents the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. Please subscribe to the Loft Party Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, and SoundCloud. And be sure to tell a friend you've received your invitation, and welcome to the party. I'm your host and panel moderator, Rio, and let me introduce today's panel. We've got Dave Elliott, a.k.a. Big Dave, owner of C&P Construction. We've got Ben Roberts. He is the bartender extraordinaire here at the Pendergast Club. We've got Brian Massey with a new title. You want to tell us what your new title is?
Marketing analyst, True Media.
Marketing analyst at True Media. So do you think you even know what your job really is yet?
I'm going to be doing a lot of data analysis like I was previously, but instead of the operations and some financial markets, it's going to be in advertising.
Okay. All right. That sounds... Actually, it sounds sexier anyway than data analyst for DSG. So let's hope that it is.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, now we won't get it out on the podcast. That'd be embarrassing to Brian, and we won't do that to young Brian. And of course,
Thanks.
the anonymous female, the right hand of the podcast, and she's the anonymous female because she doesn't want you to know her name. So this week on the podcast, we've got a few things that I want to talk about. A couple of RIPs that I noticed this week that should be mentioned. And tonight, and we actually have not even discussed who's taking what position, but tonight, since the first presidential debate is going to be on, we are going to do a mock presidential debate right here on the Loft Party Podcast for you. So, only rule of the presidential debate is let's not get nasty. Let's not, per se, finger point at the other candidate. Why is the candidate that you are leaning toward going to do a good job versus why is the other person going to do a bad job? Because we'll get plenty of that later on tonight, so we don't need to do it too. But first, the RIPs. I noticed, and it hurt my heart in particular, Bill Nunn, and anybody who's seen any of the Spike Lee movies, and particularly Do the Right Thing, will recognize him as Radio Raheem. It's kind of amazing to think that Radio Raheem was old enough to pass away, period. But, you know, I do have to think that Do the Right Thing is probably 25 years old. I mean, I think it did come out in 89, something like that. But he wasn't old by any means. He was only 62.
Damn right that ain't old.
And actually, he had been in several of Spike's movies and other movies. Movie New Jack City, he played a character called the Dutter Man. He was an enforcer for a drug kingpin with a stutter. They called him the Dutter Man. He was in the Sister Act films. He was in a couple of the Spider-Man films. He was in Idlewild, which is actually one of my favorite movies on the low, Outcasts movie that they put out. But I wanted to say a fine rest in peace.
Well, speaking for the old guys.
Yes.
Give me a little history on Bill Nunn. I mean, who was he? Why did he start with Radio Raheem? I don't know.
actually, I think his first major movie character was Radio Raheem from
So
Spike
he
Lee's
was
Do the Right
more of
Thing.
an actor than he was a
Yeah.
DJ or have a radio show or something.
No. He was an actor. He was an actor.
Done a ton of work.
Yeah. He's been in a
So I would know him
ton
if I
of
saw his face. I would know who he
Yes.
is.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was looking through. I usually print some stuff out, and
He did a lot of detective roles. as
yeah,
well.
he
was
did do a
in,
lot.
Like he did.
Like
New
you
York
can't see his
Undercover.
face because that's his character from Do the Right Thing.
Oh, I know who he is.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Yeah,
who
but
he
he's
is.
been in a lot of
Yeah,
stuff over the years, and but I think his first major role was Radio Raheem and Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, and
Yeah, because that was 1989.
yeah, so.
But he did like true crime as well.
Yeah. Like I said, he's been in a little bit of
Spider-Man,
everything.
of course.
Television and screen. He's
Yeah.
been in a little bit of everything. Excuse me. But also hurt my heart because that is probably my favorite non-alcoholic drink. Answering one of the questions from my own game. Arnold Palmer passed away at 87. He definitely was not only
Well, he was
an icon for golf, but
Yeah.
but an American icon in general. And but you were about to say.
He ended up taking the moniker the King, rather begrudgingly, but that's ended up what they called it because he really revolutionized golf from a elite status into more of a mainstream status.
Yes.
Because he had the persona to get out there, and the way he swung his club, I mean, that guy came after a ball. But beyond that, the cool thing about Arnold Palmer is that he was a true golf gentleman, and he would give people time. One of the quotes I heard today, and I've heard this before, you could be, with his fork sticking a piece of food in his mouth, and somebody come over, he'd put the food down and talk to him. Instead of saying, wait till I'm done eating, I'll come see you later.
Right.
And he's the type of guy that had, my father had the same protocol. You walk into the clubhouse, you take your hat off.
Right.
And these type of things. He was very proper as far as the etiquette and being a gentleman of golf.
Yeah.
So that made him very endearing to many people, and the fans just loved him. He was just an everyday guy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I saw that.
I would definitely give a cheers to Arnold. He was definitely one of the great icons of our generation.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, wow.
Fifth winningest PGA Tour golfer of all time.
Yeah, what did he win? 62 PGAs?
He never won the U.S. Open. That's the one he didn't
No, incorrect.
win.
I won it 4 times
PGA.
or something.
No, once.
Oh.
He did win one.
No, USA Open, or sorry, US Open. I don't watch golf. 1960.
1960.
Yeah.
Because he won. He really was the one that also went over and started playing in the British Open and made it more popular. Because he didn't really, we didn't really follow it that much.
Okay.
And then of course he won, I want to say 4 or 5 Masters.
Okay.
He was awesome in the Masters, and him and Nicklaus used to duel.
Yeah, I'm about to
In
say,
fact,
I do
Where I
recall.
live down in Florida, the World Golf Hall of Fame there, and there is the only course that Nicklaus and Palmer designed together, and it's called the King and the Bear.
Oh,
And I've played it several times. We play our course, and I take the gang when we go down there, and we go down and play the King and the Bear.
That's
That's
awesome.
off in the Lolly Pines with some hills and everything. It's just a real cool course. But it's at the World Golf Hall of Fame, so those two were definitely two peas in a pod in a lot of ways, being a competitor.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, the Bear and the King.
King and the Bear.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Jack
Yeah.
Nicklaus is the Bear.
yeah. And last but not least, this might not be all of the people who passed away this week, but just the ones that I happened to catch. Jose Fernandez, 24 years old, a tragic boating accident, played for the Marlins, and watching the Marlins organization be as broken up as they were. I haven't seen that in a while. Just you can
I
tell
don't
it
know
was.
that I've ever seen a coach, like ugly cry on,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he was,
Yeah, I was like that caught my attention because people pass away and when they're young it's tragic regardless. But I think when the coach was doing the real ugly cry, they're like, wait, what happened? Like, and it really made me.
Well, he was a Cuban expatriate.
Yeah.
How you want to put it? Escaped several. Actually, got thrown in jail for trying to escape, and then finally got away when he was in high school age. He actually played high school ball in Florida, and that's where he got drafted out of. It didn't take him long, obviously, to ascend to the majors because he had that much talent. So to be able to escape the communist country and have to leave people behind and different things like that, you always look at people like that when they have to leave their families behind. In quest of doing better by themselves and hopefully be able to do better by their families in the long term. Honorable man.
Yeah, I was hearing a story earlier about a time that they were able to get his grandmother up to a game, but they didn't tell him that they were doing it, and so in the interview, pre-game or post-game, I think it was pre-game, they were asking him, if your grandmother was here, what would you say to her, and then they brought grandma out, and I was just like, wow, you were going for the tears.
Oh yeah, you got good jerk a few out of everybody, right?
You were trying to rip them out your eyes. While we were discussing our RIPs, we've had someone join the panel. Hard to believe, it's been a while,
It has.
but he is back.
I am back.
Lane Boland.
Good to see you, Mario.
Oh, yes, good to see you, my man. And before we get started, I'm just going to give you dirty looks now.
Yeah. I
Because today is the mock debate. Have you decided what candidate you want to play?
the moderator.
Hey, you want to be on the moderator?
He might be a good moderator.
He actually might be a good moderator.
Yeah, he might be the
You're
man for
asking
the
me
moderator.
if I want to play the role of a clown or the role of a criminal. Neither of which appeal to me.
See, out there in podcast land, when I said I'm going to give you the dirty looks now, that's the reason. Because Lane cannot control himself in these situations, nor do we really try to make him, for that matter.
I only point out the true problem is everyone knew who he was talking about. When he
Yeah.
said
Yeah, that's actually kind of the true problem. You know exactly. Now,
Anybody have any edibles? I could be Gary Johnson.
I was about to say.
I was going to be Gary Johnson.
I will say there is room for Gary Johnson at the table.
There's another one too. There's 4 candidates.
Yeah, well, there's another female candidate for the Green Party.
Green candidate anonymous female.
Yeah,
That could be your
I
job.
can't be the Green candidate since I don't know who she is. I didn't even know she was female.
well, I will say
She
this.
can be an anonymous female too.
I
She
will
probably
say,
is.
well, at this point, she has like 3% of the vote. She is the anonymous female.
Yeah, so,
Maybe I need to change my name.
So,
just not on purpose, right?
Evil. Anybody got any burn cream?
so I tell you what.
That was
I'll take.
horrible. All of you, all at once.
I'll take you up on that.
On what?
On moderating.
Oh, sweet.
But this is the rules.
All right.
This is the rules. We're not tearing down your opponent.
No,
We're just
teeing
installing
them up.
we're just talking about our candidate's virtues.
Okay.
We're not talking about how bad the other candidate is.
All right.
So, therefore,
So no comments about Monica Lewinsky, Jennifer Flowers.
no.
No comments about Mark Cuban.
You want to get it all out now?
All right. I'll be quiet.
So, did somebody really think about who they wanted to be?
Moderator.
I could do a mix.
Okay.
Because I could definitely do a Gary Johnson.
Okay.
Argue with himself.
And I could definitely,
You know,
I could definitely do a Trump.
I'll do Trump
Because I got the East Coast accent.
because
I
I
could
will
do the
never
Trump.
vote
I
for
could be huge.
Okay. But so you'll beat Trump in the debate.
because I would. Yeah.
Okay.
because I don't support
You don't know who anything is.
So we
he
got
did
Trump.
good.
You don't support him, is that what you said?
Yeah, that's why I want to try to.
Yeah. So we do have a
But
Trump,
you don't like Hillary either.
No, I don't. But
Okay.
but he's picking
Yeah.
probably because it'd be funnier to be Trump.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth. So Trump for you, Gary Johnson for you.
I'll be Gary.
Are you picking one? Brian.
I don't think I'm going to be good at any of these.
Yeah.
I want to be
So it
Hillary.
won't matter.
Honestly, I think Brian
I'll
would
be
make
the
a better
moderator.
And you know what? She probably
Lane can be
paid
Hillary.
the moderator or something.
You know what? Tell you
so
what.
Yeah.
It could be the same person.
And you're all sitting together. So let's
Rumble.
Get ready to rumble!
So today in the Loft Party Podcast mock debate, we have Dave Elliott as,
Gary Johnson, dude.
we have Ben Roberts as,
Donald Trump.
and we have Lane Bolin as.
Hillary Clinton.
This should be hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. And I do mean hilarious. So, myself and the anonymous female, we are going to moderate.
I need a teleprompter.
There will be no teleprompting. You will have to be nice and informative
Yes.
from the top of your head. Shut up. Like, I can hear it already. Stop. So, the anonymous female and I are going to moderate. Brian, since there are, well, unless he really wants to be the part of it, he can be the Green Party candidate because
Who we don't know who it is.
nobody knows anything about her anyway.
He can just
That means
be
I don't get to
the-
talk.
About to say,
He could just be the fact checker.
yeah, there you
Actually, I
go.
like
which
this.
which actually fits your personality in.
This is
The
good.
fact
It's a good
checker.
role. I like this.
So, we're going to start like this, and we're going to go. We're going to. Sorry, Lane, but we're going to go ladies first, which means all questions will be directed at you first,
All right.
and then we will go from Hillary and go around that way. So, first, on day one in office,
All right.
what would you do if elected president of the United States? Miss Clinton.
Day
Is
one.
that-
Mrs.
Well, day one, I would. Wow, that's so hard. There's so much I want to accomplish. It really.
Would you answer the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning?
What difference does it make?
No interrupting. They have.
Hey,
has
we're
2
the
minutes.
debater. Don't tell me I
She
can't
has 2
interrupt.
minutes. Let her answer first, and then you'll have a few
I
seconds.
say,
to-
and just for fairness, Gary is only going to get 15% of the time, since that's all the vote he's got so far. So
We will fix the tax code to force
I'll have the
those
munchies by then
corporations
anyway.
to pay their fair share in order to shore up the gap in Social Security because our seniors need to eat.
our seniors do need to eat. That is a very good
So
point.
shore up the gap in the tax code.
Okay. And
Close the loophole.
quick rebuttal from Mr. Trump.
Did you say
Well-
Miss Trump?
Mr. Trump, I said. I think I said Mr. Trump.
First of all, my tax code is going to be the best tax code. I've got the best people on the best tax code, so don't you even worry about that. Everybody's going to pay their fair share, and the corporations don't need to pay any more money. We're already paying too much money anyway. Come on, let's be honest. First thing I'm going to do as President of the United States, obviously, is going to call the President of Mexico and make him build a wall.
Hold on. The wealthiest pay too little in taxes while the middle class needs more relief, Mr. Trump. Don't you care about the middle class?
Of course I care about the middle class, but they need to make more money to pay more taxes.
Did you show them how you cared when you bought those corporations and shifted their jobs to China?
Yes.
Gary, would you care to chime in?
What was the question?
Clinton, Trump, and Gary?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, day one,
Day one.
Geez, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to legalize marijuana for the whole nation.
This is a debate, not a fantasy. There is no way.
What do you mean?
Mrs. Clinton, we have to let him have his 15%
Wait,
of the time.
wait. No. We got way too much government. We just need to legalize marijuana, and everybody will be able to, enjoy themselves, and we won't have all these drug gangs running around, and the cops won't have to be wasting their time. So we can have less cops, less government, and what was I talking about?
Mrs. Clinton, second question.
Can I just interject real quick?
Briefly.
Okay, I want to thank the Gary Johnson campaign for handing me this election.
Do I get a cabinet position, man?
Hold on, I need to fact check that. That seems pretty accurate.
I want a cabinet position.
Oh,
I want to be czar of dope.
We'll make you the drug czar.
You be the dope czar.
That's it, the drug czar. I should have said that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moderator.
It's all right. I feel very moderate right now, so
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
That was some good stuff. That makes you choke.
That is funny. So,
Hold on, I'm getting a call from my doctor. Okay.
It was actually an email.
You better sit down, Hillary.
fact checking's doing his job.
We
Okay.
got fact checker.
All right. So, Mrs. Clinton.
Yep.
Next question. Do you have questions before I go in? What's the next question? Okay. So we know what you do on day one. In your first 100 days of office, what type of policy would you try to implement?
It's not so much we need to fix. There's nothing wrong with America. We're already great. We don't need to be great again. Instead, what we need to make sure is that the Affordable Care Act, which we fought so hard for, is properly funded by closing the tax loopholes on the wealthiest 1% that pay next to nothing in terms of effective income. And two, this is horribly unfair to the hardworking immigrants to this country that create the growth in our economy. Because anyway, without getting into the finer points of policy, which my neighbor to the right, I guess, or left, whatever you want to call it, which is it's too obtuse for him, or anyway, he won't get it. But what I'm trying, what I'm getting at is no. What I want to push through is not.
Mr. Trump, in your first 100 days.
Hillary, you want another hit? You seem to forgot where you were.
It's the pneumonia medication.
It could very well be the pneumonia medication. It could very well be. Mr. Trump, in your first 100 days.
In my first 100 days, the wall that secures our borders will be built. So we will no longer have an illegal immigration issue in the United States, and that'll certainly cut down on a lot of our resources.
Excuse me, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Trump. And I don't mean to jump on your territory, Mr. Fact Check, but it sounded as if you were insinuating that the wall
Would be built
on the Mexican border
Yeah, it's going to take 100 days.
would solve the entire immigration issue, period.
Anything coming through Mexico, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because it sounded like you said like all immigration. I was like, wow, like that's a hell of a wall.
Sometimes stories, I just speak off the cuff, not really saying anything entirely factual, but you just need to insinuate that, the truth that is going to happen is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay,
Hold on.
okay.
As the adult in the room, we need comprehensive immigration reform with a path to full and equal citizenship. If Congress won't act, I'll defend President Obama's executive actions, and I'll go even further to keep families together. I'll end family detention, close immigration detention centers, and help more eligible people become naturalized. Where am I?
Excuse me, Mrs. Clinton, did you find a teleprompter? Because it sounded as if you found a teleprompter.
Oh,
I'm just checking.
She found the teleprompter.
I had to check an email real quick.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Mr. Johnson.
Hillary, Do you know where Aleppo is?
Aleppo?
Yeah.
Aleppo? Oh, in Syria?
Is that serious? Aleppo, serious. I'm very serious. I don't know where Aleppo is. Can you help me out here?
And now we know why. Mr.
But
Johnson's only getting 15%
wait.
Mr. Johnson.
I like Mr. Trump's wall. As long as I can still have my tunnels underneath to get the marijuana in, then I'm okay.
Naturally.
Howard, how do you feel on marijuana tunnels?
You know, as long as you share. Yeah.
I'll share all I want. Small government, more dope.
I'm not quite sure what to say about that.
And moving on.
Right.
Next question.
And moving on.
Such an important
We're okay. Go ahead.
The people need to realize that Trump and his band of deplorables are a lot like the SS and Hitler. We need to take
Okay, on that note, our next topic is going to be foreign policy. And as Secretary of State, you have had extensive experience dealing with foreign powers. But how does that relationship change once you actually become the President of the United States?
Well, as we all know, as the best Secretary of State ever in the history of the United States, I work to restore America's leadership in the world. As President, my top priority
One second,
keep
Mrs.
us
Clinton.
safe and
Mrs.
defend
Clinton,
our
I'm going to have to
values.
jump in here one second. I'm going to need you to fact check that fact checker, because I'm going to say that the two previous Secretaries of State probably won't like it, and they're both black. They might get physical. We need to find out.
Yeah, but you can't define best. Like,
Oh, I think you can define
Okay.
best.
By keeping us safe and defending our values, this includes a cutting-edge military, strengthening our alliances, but being firm with our rivals.
Hey, your husband thought Monica Lewinsky was best too.
Hey, we said no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I spaced out.
Mr. Trump.
No
Excuse me,
personal.
Moderator, can Hillary Clinton put away the Googles and maybe?
That's a teleprompter. That's not a Google.
Okay. Well, okay, Benghazi.
Excuse me, candidates. That was really funny. So that was the rebuttal.
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
That's all I have to say.
That's
Big
it.
guy? Okay. And
Our population deserves a president who does not have the rhetorical skills of a sixth grader in a popularity contest.
okay.
I don't need to overcomplicate
Next question.
All right. With that said, we're going to go to our next topic, and that is our nation has been facing several police shootings where the police have been shooting unarmed or very rarely armed black men. In this country, what would you do as president to head off such deplorable actions? Ms. Clinton, you're the first one. You're always the first one.
My email
Hello?
is down. Hold on a second.
What? Okay, with your teleprompter being down,
I have the
we're
best.
gonna
I have
go
the
to Mr.
best
Johnson.
answer.
Okay,
Look, the brothers like marijuana, right?
lots of
So,
brothers.
so the cop is in a bad situation with the brother. So you pull out the pipe, and you fire it up, and you go, "Come on, dude,
God,
let's
really?
get along. Can't we just get along here?
Listen,
Here, let's get stoned together, and we'll sing Kumbaya, and everything will be cool. You know, we might even get into some Marvin Gaye songs or something like
Mr.
that.
Moderator, Mr.
You know,
Moderator.
what's going
That sounded a little suspect right now
Can we
with the
get a
Marvin Gaye.
serious
But
response?
Mrs. Clinton.
Yeah. Listen, everyone in America should respect the law and be respected by the law. That being said, we need to end mass incarceration of 19% of our entire population. You know, we need to use strategies like police body cameras and aim resources at criminals who pose the greatest threat. And we need to invest in education and job training, which are the foundations of success. And we all know that crime is inversely correlated to education and economic success, Mr. Trump.
But your
Are we
foundation
talking
is all about
educating
crime.
Are we talking about educating the police officers?
No, wait.
The citizens.
Both.
Wait. Let's talk about the Clinton Foundation for a minute. You want to talk about crime?
Wait.
Now this is crime and
Well,
that's
say,
going on there.
we're
Someone needs to give Mr. Johnson a legal lesson in estate planning. I have absolutely no control over what my foundation does.
No, sorry.
Mr. Trump.
Well, as you know, I'm a big friend of the police and the police commission, so I would just bolster their budget so that we can have better police forces and better training, and that's it.
Translation
Fuck.
to anybody who isn't
checker.
white. Donald Trump wants to lock you up.
Wow.
We're gonna have you fact check that one.
Yeah,
We'll
wow.
have you fact check that. But we're also gonna ask a follow-up
I
question.
know the best policeman.
Well,
I mean,
we're gonna ask a follow-up question, and the follow-up question is, and we're gonna start with Mr. Trump with the follow-up question, because he sparked the follow-up question. How do you pay for all the new police and training and such?
Well, with my excellent tax plan, of course. I know the best tax plan people, so I'll have them work out the tax issues,
Okay.
and it'll all work out.
Okay. Sounds like it'll be huge.
It's gonna be
Huge.
It's gonna be
Believe me, it's huge.
Huge.
Believe it.
And then confetti came down and said the magic word.
Yeah,
Huge.
Okay. Mrs. Clinton, you look like you're itching for a rebuttal.
I just want to know how reducing or your tax plan effectively cuts in half the taxes for the wealthiest 1% in the country. How after 30 years of failed Reaganomic policies, the definition of insanity is repeating the same action, expecting a different outcome. I don't see how Mr. Trump's plan leads to anything but a repeat of the financial crisis with his crony capitalism. Whereas my plan, which is clearly articulated, is will create millions of middle class jobs, invest in clean energy and manufacturing, and ask the wealthiest 1% to pay their fair share.
So I have a question, and I'm going to jump in for a second and jump out of character, just for a second to say to all of the podcast listeners out there, I'm fairly sure that that Lane is not that big a fan of Hillary Clinton, but he's actually doing a really good job being Hillary Clinton.
He's got a teleprompter.
Hillary Clinton right now in a debate, and so back to our regularly scheduled program. Mr. Trump, do you have any rebuttals on what
Well,
Ms. Clinton
obviously,
has had to
Mrs.
say?
Clinton doesn't have the best tax people, so whatever she believes she can accomplish
does that even
with
mean?
her establishment politics is null to.
He
To-
says
to
establishment, I hear professional.
Mr. Johnson.
Well, I know that you're a little uptight, Hillary. You want to hit off of this? I give it to Mr. Trump, but his hands are too small.
Just remember, all jokes directed at other candidates be done when I'm not drinking, so I won't spit it across the table at all of you.
Just saying.
Okay, so before I jump in with a next question, any follow-ups, any questions of your own so far?
No, you've been doing really good
Okay.
follow-up.
Okay.
But the fact checker has a
yeah,
statement.
I think
Please.
something interesting is just the lack of experience in the candidates. I believe the average politics.
Are you like?
I've been smoking dope for
Is there data
45
around
years.
So, yeah, there's some data. So it's like 16 years on average, and I believe Hillary was technically like around 8, and of course Trump is at 0. So I think that's a little bit interesting, where
You say lack of experience for
to
Clinton
be a
is-
president,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh, to be a president, I thought you were about smoking dope. I've been smoking for
How is
45
she only
years.
8?
Well, I was reading through, it had to do with elected office,
Ah. Yeah.
which is a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because the Senate
so
was
if
Mrs.
it's-
Clinton's first election.
Yeah, if it's based on elected office, then yes. What's Mr. Johnson's?
Well, actually, to quit joking around here, you know, the one thing that we do have is that we have way too much huge government, to quote Mr. Trump. We need to scale this down. Everybody is bought and paid off. All it is special interests. Corporations and government are tied together. And we need to turn around and scale this back some and get this back to where the people are the most important part of the land and that we are working for ourselves. That's a libertarian policy. This is what we need to do. And it doesn't hurt to smoke a joint on occasion. It's not going to screw you up. We're not going to turn into devil people and do everything that they showed us in films back in the 50s.
So I do have a question for the candidates then. Following Mr. Johnson's train of thought. If government is scaled back and we are taxed less as a populace, how do the programs necessary for the government to function get paid for? And we will come back around.
I have an answer.
To Mr. Johnson.
I believe we need to set up a fair tax, a consumer tax. The main complaint about everybody is the rich don't pay nothing. And if you do a consumer tax, and we don't tax the groceries, we don't tax the clothing, we set up a tax that is, you know, just a federal tax of around 18%. You're still gonna have your city taxes, you're still gonna have your state taxes and all these things, but you're not gonna have any income tax taken out of your check. So it puts more people's money in their checks, so they tend to spend their money. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah.
It's that weed.
It is that weed.
It went away. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Mrs. Clinton.
I defer to Mr. Trump on this one.
Mr. Trump.
I don't want to answer as Donald Trump actually on this one.
Okay.
I want to answer as a human being.
Okay. All right. We'll take it.
I don't disagree with having a flat consumer tax. I think it's a pretty good idea for the most part, except do we actually put those taxes into wealth hoarders and all the people who are doing banking transactions and make them hand over fist corruptly, you know, with international banking practices. Like, is there a way to bring that money back into the country instead of just having a flat consumer tax and not having taxes on money actually made for those kind of things? Because that's where we're losing a lot of money.
Well, I remember what I was gonna say. The rich are gonna pay more and the poor are gonna pay less, and then that's what they want.
Well, that's what Gary Johnson said, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So,
Please.
did you have a comment?
GDP, I'm going to speak as a Keynesian economist, which is what Hillary Clinton
Okay.
Yes.
or can.
Yes.
All right, so staying in character here, I don't sort of think that this is, anyway, what I'm getting at is GDP equals consumer spending plus government spending plus net exports, all right? Now, here is the problem with the wealthy. They don't consume, they don't need, you only need so much in clothes, you only need so much in food, you only need so many watches, you know, so many cars. Our economy is 80% of our GDP is based off of consumer spending. All right, we all agree that government spending is not the answer here. Printing money is not the answer here. That leads to rampant inflation. So if we go back to history, we look at, you know, at the only other time where we had this ginormous divide in wealth was 1928. What happened in 1920? Now the reason for that was, one, rampant speculation, but two, the fact that all that wealth that the wealthy were accumulating was not getting diverted back into the economy, which is what we need to maintain our growth rates, to enable us to continue these programs, to provide the opportunity for people to better themselves. What I'm saying is that, now the power to tax is the power to destroy. That's the big conundrum here. So the question should be not how do we pay for these programs. The question should be how do we incentivize those with wealth to start throwing it around.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that at a 5th grade
Okay.
reading level boost.
And I'm
Next
female.
question.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good answer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, for real, like out of
Yeah.
character. That was a good answer.
Lane probably knows a thing or two
What-
about
what do
economics.
you-
I don't.
Probably.
I don't.
Are you speaking
Donald
as-
Trump doesn't.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I hear you.
I'm pretty much about.
Gary gives a thumbs up to that too.
Well, I know all the best economists.
Okay.
Okay, back in character.
He said what,
Yep.
what she
What,
said.
what do you think the proper role of corporations in American elections is?
Going back to the first 100 days in office.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to pack the Supreme Court with enough judges to repeal Citizens United, because corporations are not people. They should not have a vote in our political process.
What about the Second Amendment?
That has nothing to do with corporations.
Well, I like to get stoned and shoot my gun.
Kind of the second,
What's wrong with being stoned and shooting a gun?
Mr. Trump?
Well, I own a corporation, and obviously I'm running for president. I use that money to finance my campaign. So I think that you telling me that I can't use my own money
Does
to run
he
my
use
campaign.
it, do you use your corporation
Absolutely.
or your personal? Because you talk about.
Well, the money that I make from my
No,
corporation.
Yeah.
Mr. Trump can't use his corporation's money because it's never actually made money.
Oh,
So we're gonna have the
You haven't
fact
seen
checker
my
come
tax
in there
returns.
and
Don't worry
find
about
out where Mr. Trump has
You haven't
his
seen my
campaign
tax returns.
finances come from.
So the
I
second
don't know how much
part,
money I make,
the second
and
part,
nobody's gonna know.
the second part of that question is, what do you think of the super PACs that are spending unlimited amounts of undisclosed money from big donors in federal campaigns?
Repeal Citizens United, they can't spend that money. That's an unfair advantage against the working middle class. It is drowning out the 99% ability to be heard.
Citizens United has been approved by the Supreme Court, therefore completely legal. Not a problem.
we call a super PAC 100-pound bail.
So are we ready with our next question?
We are.
Okay.
Where to go? Okay. What?
We're gonna ask Mr. Johnson from refrain from smoking the rest of the debate.
What should be done to ensure that every citizen has the ability to vote and have their vote counted without undue barriers?
We need our law enforcement to enforce the laws and prevent all the racist, disenfranchising policies or unlawful laws, that restrict voters' ability to cast their ballot.
That was Mr. Johnson's rebuttal to Mrs. Clinton's
Clearly
statements.
not a serious candidate.
Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump.
Obviously, my party's platform sees no problem with enforcing voters to have a valid ID to obtain voter registration, and I uphold that. And so do all my best people.
Okay. Okay.
If we can jump back just for one moment. So Trump's candidate, so
Fact checker.
self-financing has been 2/3 out of his own pocket.
Okay.
That's what he says, but nobody's been able to prove it.
And
He's the fact checker.
Let me add something real quick on that too.
Man.
Being the fact checker, it is hard to check any of these things. I'm just throwing that out that the internet is quite cluttered.
No.
That's a good way to put it. The internet, ladies and gentlemen, out there in podcast
I
land.
have one more.
Let me say this really
Okay.
quick. The internet is quite cluttered. I don't think we knew that out there in podcast land, but now the fact checker has checked that fact. The internet is quite cluttered.
The internet is broken.
Now, female.
Congress requires every president to submit a national security strategy for the United States. What changes would you make to the current one, and how will you keep foreign nations from acquiring nuclear weapons?
I feel that's a loaded question. Hold on a second.
Are you
The president's most important job is to keep us safe. That means. Listen, we already know we need more resources for this fight. The professionals who keep us safe would be the first to say we need better intelligence to discover and disrupt terrorist plots before they can be carried out. We also need to, keep guns out of the hands of suspected terrorists and work with our allies to defeat ISIS and enforce our nuclear treaty with Iran.
I'm gonna stop that because that is a very hard question for most people to answer. I'm gonna go with a different one.
Oh.
Well, you didn't give me a chance, Anonymous.
I think
Yeah,
sure,
man.
these guys are teed up. They're ready to go.
Okay, go.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead,
answer
go
with
ahead.
such profundity.
No, I'm
Go
not
ahead,
saying,
no, go ahead,
please,
please.
Mr. Trump.
Well, as you know, I'm not a general. I'm just a businessman. Self-starter, as you guys know. Didn't have any help. But,
Except for 300.
I might have you jump in.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't have to look that one up.
I might have you jump in there on that fact checker.
Don't have to look that one up.
Except for the $50 million boost from Daddy.
Exactly.
Mr. Johnson,
I
did
take
you have
offense.
anything to add to?
What was the question?
I want to know how Mr. Trump would keep us safe.
I'm going
That
to,
does not involve
I'm
nuking the world.
going to hire the best candidate with the most experience to be
Okay,
able to.
here's
Well,
a.
are nukes like
Wait,
fire? Are they like?
Mr. Trump?
Are they like fireworks?
Mr.
You know,
Trump's
is it cool to see the cloud when it comes up? I mean,
I don't think it's cool to see the cloud. I don't
You
think.
don't
if-
drive
I think
If
towards
you
the
see
light.
the cloud, you gotta run as
I think
far
if you
and
see
fast
the
and
cloud, it's too
underground as
late.
you can get.
I think that's the problem.
Look, moderator, you get the idea. Best cabinet, best
Oh,
people,
I thought
huge
For
impact.
the last
That's
15
it.
months, all
Huge.
Mr. Trump has said is he's going to hire the best people.
Huge.
What does that
I-
mean? He has not clearly articulated one thing that he himself is qualified to do to lead us.
I'll be his
it's
drug
the same-
czar.
Yeah, except
Okay.
for freaking Cheech and Chong over there. I mean,
So one more and then I'll send it back to you.
Please.
Is it America's role to be the world's policeman?
it is America's role to work with our allies to keep the world safe.
Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Johnson.
Where'd you say Aleppo was? Syria.
Syria. Yes.
Syria, yeah, I learned that.
Yes.
I think we need to help Aleppo. Humanitarian help in Aleppo. I think that would be a
Humanitarian
very
help.
good thing to do. Maybe our allies could help us.
Okay.
Can I help Mr. Trump? Jog his memory. Something about
Thank you.
killing the families of innocent civilians who are remotely related to terrorists.
Yes.
That is something that you said, Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
I mean, I don't remember saying that, but
but it
given-
sounds like
given-
something you might have said.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
I say the best things, so.
Okay. All right.
Fact checker?
No, I think we all know that.
Just,
that
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I thought it was, I'm not even smoking. Just talking about it.
All right. So, I think we have come to a place in the debate where it is time for one last question. I think this is probably, to me personally as moderator, most important question, and that question is, what is your stance on Cuba? Tourism to cigars from, rum from, all things Cuba. We'll start with Mrs. Clinton.
Yes.
Mrs. Clinton giving a reverse Trump answer. Yes. Mr. Trump.
I absolutely agree with having free trade with Cuba. I think that we can start having business with them so we can make a lot of money.
Mr. Johnson.
50 years of failed policy did not work. And anything that involves rum, which I am fond of, and Cuban cigars, and Cuban women is a good thing. Just saying.
Is this my husband or is this Mr. Johnson?
I think that was Mr. Johnson, but
I just want to build.
but I do hear the
Channel.
similarities. I think
I
that
just want to
one.
build some hotels down there.
I
That
don't
sounds
use
like
a
a Trump answer.
teleprompter ever do I use a teleprompter.
Okay.
Hey, good job, Canada.
With that being said, thank you for tuning in to the first Loft Party Podcast mock debate. Now, we're going to want you to tune into the real debate, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central, on damn near every network on television this evening to see what the real candidates have to say. We, of course, we're having fun with this, but I do think that even in jest, there is some truth being said. I won't say exactly which questions or answers, but I think in jest some truth was being said. And that leaves me with, usually we're doing party fouls and party favors. So obviously the RIPs were party foul, and the mock debate was just a wild party foul that should probably never be repeated, but of course we will, because
We need
that's what
Chris
we do.
O'Connor back here.
We really needed Chris here in this.
He'll be Trump.
But
A shout out to Chris, though.
shout out to
shout
Chris
out to
O'Connor.
Chris.
He could not be
He'll
here
be
with us
listening to
today.
it.
But I wanted to
It
leave
won't be
us.
the last debate.
It will not. I want to leave us with a party favor and talk about FLotus, hugs, Dopeus. And of course,
But can we just say why that picture was taken? I mean, it was a very serious, very
no,
emotional
actually,
event.
it actually was.
He spoke at the opening of the
He, as in George W. Bush,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen out
the
there.
African American History and Cultural Museum that opened.
Yes,
That
and
took 100 years to do.
yes,
Literally.
But did it,
The
but
first
they did it
time-
well.
Yes, the first time it was suggested and asked for was 1915.
Yes, and we finally got the facility open. It looks amazing from
It's
what,
amazing. That's the word I came
from
up
what I
with.
can
It's
tell.
amazing.
And our president and first lady and George W. Bush, as well as other dignitaries, came out this weekend for the opening and spoke, and that is where they caught the photo of Michelle Obama hugging George W. Bush, and with all seriousness, that actually was kind of a heartwarming moment to see, that across the aisle in a moment when people were just being people, you can see genuine affection for each other, and I thought that was beautiful.
Can anybody really say that George was a bad guy?
No.
It'd
He
be
had
very
bad
hard.
advisors.
It'd be very hard to say that because you look at what he did with AIDS in Africa, and there was a lot of things that he did, and a lot of things the Lord did that were very positive things. Unfortunately,
I have often
he had Lord Cheney
Yeah, I've
as
often,
a vice president, and I
said
really think
that was.
that was the major problem because this man was a former president of Halliburton, who I worked for Halliburton Company.
Yeah.
I worked for Otis Engineering, and I got a little insight on some of this stuff. And
Yeah, that was what I often said. Really, was the issue with
George wasn't
W.
he wasn't a bad president when we had 9/11. He really was able to go out and speak and bring the public together and everything that we had going on with 9/11. He did a good job at that. I can never forget the day after. I was framing a house out in Lee Summit. I was still in the field at the time, long before I bought the company. And I looked up in the sky, and it was just this beautiful blue sky. There wasn't a cloud in it. And we were working about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we saw this plane flying over way high. I don't know who it was, but you gotta realize that's probably one of the few planes that were in the air at all at that.
At all, yeah.
You know, and it just, that time really made you reflect on a lot of different things. You know, who we are as Americans, because, you know, we can call ourselves Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, everything, but you know what? We're Americans.
Absolutely.
We are Americans. And I think George did a good job at bringing us all together as Americans over that thing, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Everybody likes to make fun of him, but he did
Well,
a
you know,
very
it's
good
funny.
job, very good job at that time in making us Americans.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, when it comes to 9/11, I don't think anybody really has, you know, question about, what he did or didn't do for the country at that moment. You know, I think there were other moments that, people waffle on whether or not he did the right thing or whatever. You know, my big thing I think he did wrong was picking Cheney as his vice president. I've never thought Bush was a bad person. Sometimes I question whether or not he was be sharp as tool in the shed.
I don't think he
but
picked-
I don't think he was a
picked Cheney.
bad guy.
I think the party picked Cheney for him.
I think you're right.
I think we're gonna miss the debates if we continue down this road.
You know what? I think you might be right. So, with that being said, I think you might be right because we don't want to miss the debates. And so, what we're going to do now is what we do at the end of every Loft Party podcast, and that is we end with the toast that started this all for me, and that is the good times with good people.
Hey.